Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World. And on today's episode of the Prime, we got ourselves a little bit of an emergency podcast episode. We were for sure not planning on doing a crossover episode this week. We're going to jump back into our season preview stuff next week. But then the NBA has breaking news the way only the NBA can, as Damian Lillard is now a member of the Milwaukee Bucks. We're here to break it down for you. TJ Hopkins should be joining me here shortly, my co-host. I'm your host, Mr. David On Point Huffman. Thank you very much for checking us out. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. And if you do happen to miss us live, we have a plethora of streaming platforms that are all over there on the right side in the comment section of all the places. That includes Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So you can check us out all over there. if you do happen to miss us live. But we're going to talk about Damian Lillard to the Milwaukee Bucks and what is a very, very big trade. One of the bigger trades of this offseason cycle, which had a bunch of big moves. John Collins was moved earlier this season. Chris Paul was traded this offseason. Bradley Beal was traded this offseason. Like, it's been a very active offseason when it comes to the NBA. And we're here to talk about this Damian Lillard trade to the Milwaukee Bucks. So let's get right into it. Damian Lillard's obviously heading to the Cream City. That's Milwaukee. The Trailblazers get a pretty solid haul here. They get Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Toumani Camara, a 2029 first-round pick from Milwaukee, which is unprotected. And they also get 2 pick swaps with Milwaukee in 2018 or 2028 and 2030. The Suns became the third team in this trade, came out of almost nowhere. They get Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nazir Little, and Keon Johnson. Looking at the parameters of this trade, we're talking about who wins this trade. This is one of those rare trades where you talk about a trade that went down. I actually think all 3 of these teams are winners when it comes to this deal. I think Bucks, I think you need to shake up this roster a little bit. You came off a season where you kind of disappointed there a little bit, getting bounced by the Miami Heat in the first round, a 1 seed beating an 8, and you lose that series. You get a guy who's a dominant player, makes you guys so much more dynamic on the offensive end of the basketball court. He can get a bucket at any time. The Milwaukee Bucks did not have a guy that you could rely on a consistent basis from possession to possession that could get his own bucket outside of Giannis. And you could see during that series when Giannis, they were just relying way too much on him. He just burnt out. He was overwhelmed. It was just too much for one guy. Damian Lillard is a bona fide scorer. Like, he will put up 30 a night. He's also coming off of his best season as a pro. Let me take a look at his stats real quick before I get up in this. Last season he averaged 32 points a game, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists. He had his best statistical season of his career. His numbers just light off of the table. I mean, he shot 37% from the 3-point line, 46% from the field. He legit had his best season as a pro, and there's no reason to think that he is going to slow down all of a sudden and not become not a bucket getter. He's automatically the best player that Giannis has ever played with while his time in Milwaukee. And this is also important for Milwaukee in keeping Giannis happy. He's been on the offensive a little bit here, talking about, hey, if Milwaukee doesn't give me the best chance to win a championship, I will leave. I won a championship here. I've already accomplished what I set out to accomplish here at Milwaukee. I want to win championships. If Milwaukee doesn't give me the best chance to win a championship, I'm going to leave. And this resets that counter a little bit. I mean, oddly enough, one of the guys that they traded for this, like Milwaukee, Giannis put pressure on Milwaukee right before they traded for Drew Holiday. They won a title that season. He ends up signing that extension. Now he's coming up. He can sign the Supermax extension, I think, next offseason or this offseason with 2 years left in that contract. This kind of extends the life of Giannis in Milwaukee. Damian Lillard is a fantastic basketball player. 32 points a game. 32. He's coming off his back. I mean, obviously, he only played 58 games last season. He is a net negative on the defensive end of the basketball court. When you talk about him losing Drew Holiday, which is, that was his big calling card. He was probably the best defensive wing player in the NBA last year. And you lose him, you replace Damian Lillard, you get the offense of Damian Lillard. This is a slam dunk. This is like a near A+ trade when it comes to Milwaukee. When you're talking about on the Milwaukee side of it, I think they did as good a job as you could have done with a player getting a superstar. And I actually like the fact that they didn't have to give up the house to get him. Kudos. Excellent job. From there, let's talk about the Portland Trailblazers and what they got in this trade. We got the Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, who's probably the best player they were potentially going to get back in any kind of Damian Lillard trade. Toumani Camara. He's still a young player. He was just drafted in this year's draft. He still has some upside. He's somebody that could eventually be productive for the Portland Trailblazers. That 29 first round pick, sure, it doesn't. I know it's way out in the distance, like that's 6 years from now, but Giannis may be retired by then. Damian Lillard for sure will be retired by then. That 2029 first round pick from Milwaukee may be extremely valuable. It could end up being because that 2029 first round pick should be just when the Portland Trailblazers should be good again. Like Scoot Henderson, Shaden Sharp. You also had DeAndre Ayton, who's also under a contract. Like when you eventually now you're going to have a first round pick in 2029 that could be very valuable, as Milwaukee hasn't been this consistent franchise. Like they've gone through series where they've kind of sucked. They've had the top 3 pick in a bunch of times in the last couple of years. They got Andrew Bogut, they got Jabari Parker. Outside of when they had Giannis, this is the only time they've been consistently good from year in, from year out. So that pick could be extremely valuable when it comes to what they're looking to do as the Milwaukee Bucks. Let me take a look at camera. I gotta look how my TV's on. Just give me a second. Yeah, it's on camera. 6'8", out of Belgium, is now a member of the Portland Trailblazers. 6'8", 220 pounds. He's a power forward. He played in college at Dayton from 2021 to 2023. He was a second-round pick in this most recent draft, 22nd over 52nd overall. He doesn't have a Wikipedia page currently. So yeah, he was drafted by the Suns in the second round. He's obviously no longer on the team. But he does have some upside. He has some potential there. He was average. Let's see what he averaged in college. I can find those stats real quick. Averaged 10.9 points a game, 60 rebounds in 2021. He averaged even better than that last season with 13.9 and 8.6 rebounds per game. He was selected All-Atlantic 10, first team, All-Defensive team as well. Obviously, when entered the draft, he also participated in the Combine. He was the 52nd pick in this year's draft. So that's pretty good value. I mean, getting DeAndre Ayton is a pretty good haul. I think he was better than any other player that necessarily was going to be offered by any other team in the NBA. When it comes to a Damian Lillard trade, I saw what the Raptors were offering. What's up, Izzy? Welcome to the show, man.
Oh, what's going on? I was totally waiting for TJ to hop on before I hopped in. But I guess I beat him to it.
Yeah. Welcome to the show. Let's just talk about this. Let's start from the very beginning. I was breaking down the trade by each team, but I was talking about the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously get Damian Lillard, Trailblazers, Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Toumani Camara, 2029 first from Milwaukee, 2 pick swaps, and then the Suns get Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nazir Little, Keon Johnson. Let's talk about winners and losers. What do you think won this trade, if anyone really?
Well, I think Portland. I think Portland and definitely Milwaukee wins. Phoenix wins. I don't know how much Phoenix wins in it. I think it's a win because DeAndre Ayton was disgruntled, but they get a guy in Yusuf Nurkic who, I mean, if he's healthy, he's a big. I mean, he's a decent threat, but he's that's one thing. He's not healthy. But I think there's winners across the board. I mean, I think the Phoenix Suns getting Ayton. I know Drew Holiday's probably on the move. But I mean, not the Phoenix Suns, but Portland Trailblazers. Drew Holiday's definitely on the move. But I think when I look at a building block of Ayton, Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons, Shaden Sharp, Jeremy Grant, I think that's a solid lineup. Now, is that gonna get you a playoff spot in the West? No. But I think that's a nice start. I mean, and depending on how generationally talented Scoot Henderson's going to be, which we all think he is, I think that the Portland Trailblazers they got a little younger, right? Damian Lillard's what, 32, 33?
Damian Lillard's 33. He just 33? Had a birthday.
Yeah, so I think you get a little younger here, and I think for Milwaukee, you get a guy that, albeit, you know that this wasn't their destination. You know that this wasn't his destination. His prime destination was Miami. But I think Damian Lillard will certainly he will take Milwaukee because he's going to have Giannis, who's probably the best player, one of the best players on the planet. He's going to have Middleton. He's going to have Brook Lopez. He's going to have Bobby Portis. He's going to have a plethora of guys. I mean, last year Milwaukee probably should have waited. I mean, you're talking about a Giannis back injury and a hot Miami Heat team. I mean, last year the Milwaukee Bucks probably should have went to the finals and won it. Last year they were favored. This year they're going to be favored. Definitely they're going to be favored. And all these people saying that, oh, what about Dame and clutch time? Oh, Dame and I heard what did Skip Bayless or somebody say, oh, that they got worse. It was by trading Drew Holiday defensively. And yeah, you might have taken a hit defensively, but I mean offensively, when Giannis isn't making shots down the stretch, when we know that they're packing the paint on Giannis and it's just Middleton, well, now Middleton can go ahead and give it to Damian Lillard, right? And he can ISO, and we seen him close out series, a la the game against OKC. And I heard something interesting on the radio, and I'll let TJ chime in after I'm done because I've been talking a little while. Is that Damian Lillard's so competitive, right? That he would have loved to go to Miami because it would have been the first time that him, Bam, and Jimmy would have got a ring. Well, you go to Milwaukee, and Giannis been there, done that. Middleton's been there, done that. Brook Lopez been there, done that. Bobby Porter's been there, done. They've all won rings. You're looking at you like, okay, you're the next component that's gonna help us get to another ring. And you're not the best player. You go from, if I went to Miami, I would have been the best player on that team, to in Milwaukee, I'm the second best player on that team. So
Yeah, well, let me welcome in TJ Hopkins into the show. But yeah, I think this is one of those rare trades where like all three teams involved, I think, are winners. Like
yeah,
I like the haul for all three of these teams. I think the Suns getting off of the DeAndre Ayton and his disgruntled self, getting Yusuf Nurkic, who I think can give you a 75% of what you got from DeAndre Ayton, if not more. Grayson Allen is a great shooter, and Nazir Little is a great two-way player who can defend and shoot a little bit. Keon Johnson's kind of an athletic player that still has kind of intangibles. You can see what I doubt he even makes the roster. Totally
he's in the Shaden Sharp mode. I think Shaden Sharp's a little bit better, but
because Phoenix right now currently has 19 players on their roster. They can only take 15 into the season, so not everybody's going to make their team. I love this trade all three ways. I think the Blazers. I think this is a good package. Go ahead,
That's the first time I've heard the words "great" and Grayson Allen in the same sentence.
He's a good shooter. You can't take that away from me.
Great shooter.
Yeah, he shoots it like damn near 40% from the
No, you didn't say good. You said great.
Yeah, he's a great 3-point shooter.
Yeah, don't that word "great" gets thrown around too easily.
He shot it 40% from the threes last season. He almost had a 40-40-90 season. Like,
yeah, this whole I'm just glad it's over. I'm just glad it's. How many games?
What? You're breaking up a little bit, TJ.
How many games?
How many games until what?
How many games did Grayson Allen play?
72. Okay.
But I'm just glad this whole thing. I'm just glad it's over. It's done. Like it's just it was drawn out way too long. This also goes to show that, hey, I want to go here. Well, you don't have a say in where you go. You're gonna go where we send you. So all these players are like, I want to play here. I want to play there. You don't get a say in where you go. These teams will send you wherever the best deal is. And Miami and Portland was on, and I think Portland intentionally did this to Miami because they were asking for either Jimmy or Bam, and Miami knew good and damn well they weren't going to part ways with one of those two. So Portland probably did that on purpose. They're like, yeah, like you want them, we want Jimmy or Bam. We don't want Tyler Hero. We don't want any of the other stuff. We want one of your best players. We want Jimmy or Bam, and you can have Dame.
And not to mention, Tyler Hero never made any sense at all going back in a Portland Trailblazer trade. They already had Scoot Henderson and Shaden Sharp, and they have a bunch of wings that they like on there, right? Anthony Simons. Tyler Hero would be redundant on their roster. DeAndre Ayton makes sense.
DeAndre Ayton should have been gone a season ago. I don't understand what took so long for that to happen. On the Phoenix front, this is Dame. Dame is gonna go into. I ain't gonna say new territory because it ain't like he ain't never been to the playoffs, but he's gonna have a chance to play meaningful basketball for the first time in a long time.
In about
Right?
3 years, 4 years.
Maybe a little longer than that.
Because the last time they went to the Western Conference Finals was what, 2019?
Portland hasn't played in the playoffs since 2021, and in that series they only played 6 games. In 2019-20, they only played 4 games. The last time they played relevant, meaningful basketball was 2018, 2019.
2018, 2019.
Yeah.
When they went to the Western Conference Finals against the Warriors, yeah.
So, if you're a player of Dame Lillard's caliber, 5 years without playing relevant, meaningful basketball, that's substantial. Yeah, they went to the playoffs, but no one who thought Portland was gonna make some noise? Nobody. They did exactly what they did. They won a game here, they won 2 games there, and then they went home.
Well, last time they were in the playoffs, actually, 2 years ago they got swept, and then they lost in 6 games. I think that's the series that they lost to the. I don't remember, the Pelicans maybe in 2021.
Doesn't matter. Whoever they matched up against, they weren't gonna beat. Doesn't matter. Did not matter. The only thing with Yusuf Nurkic is, bro, just stay healthy. I think one of those basketball pages I follow on Twitter, it was a picture of Dame, CJ, and Nurkic, and it was like, oh, the end of an era. I'm like, yo, delete this. They didn't accomplish anything.
That's true. No MVPs, no Western Conference trip one time.
I'm like, what era? What era? Delete this.
But I think this is one of those rare instances where I think all 3 of these teams win this trade. I think this is a good trade for all 3 teams. I think there is a big loser though when we talk about moving away from this trade. Let's talk about the Miami Heat. You make it pretty well known that all of your players are on the table in this Damian Lillard trade. And now you don't get Damian Lillard, and you basically have let all of the other role players on your team that were part of a team that went to the finals last year. You've let a bunch of them walk away. Max Strus, the kid that ended up in the Lakers, was it
Gabe Vincent?
Gabe Vincent.
Yeah, you've let a bunch of those guys leave your team thinking you were going to get Damian Lillard, and now you do not have him on your roster. What do you do now?
I think there's another team that needs to be added to this, and I'll get to it in a second. Yeah, if you're Miami, well, first off, you got to understand that, those guys know this is a business at the end of the day, right? It was probably going to be hard pressed for them to keep all of them anyway, because no one wants to keep playing for pennies while other players getting dollars. So if you're Matt Strus, you feel like you played your way into a long-term big contract, go get it. Same thing with Gabe Vincent. There was no way I'm going to stay in Miami on some 2-year, $5 million deal when I know I can get more elsewhere. Like, I've proven I can hang in this league. Like, I understand Heat culture, and I'm putting quotation marks around that. Like, I understand that's valuable and all that other stuff, but no. At the end of the day, I'm not going to play this game forever, and I need my bread. So I'm going to go get that. So, really, what they really need to do is kind of like what they have now. So, like, stop taking chances on these undrafted dudes and hoping they pan out. Go get you some proven commodities that you know can play. Go get you a Josh Richardson who's back. Hopefully, Tyler Hero stays healthy. Right? I'm pretty sure Miami, because it's like, I know Heat fans, they proud of their team, that grit, that grind, that Heat culture. But at some point in time, you got to go get players that can get it goddamn done. Like, seriously, go get it. And
in my opinion, I think Miami should be getting on the phone. Because I think they still need another piece. I think you make a phone call to Philadelphia, and
James Harden.
I think you trade for James Harden. I don't know, like, if James Harden and Jimmy Butler would coexist together.
But you have it's not James and Jimmy. It's James and Pat Riley.
Yeah,
Pat Riley.
You offer a very similar package to the one that you offered for the Portland Trail Blazers. You offer him Tyler Hero. You offer him Duncan Robinson. Whatever other random stuff. Like, you probably wouldn't have to give the Nikola Jovic as well as Jaime Jaquez. You offer that package to the Philadelphia Sixers for James Harden. I think you pull the trigger on that because I don't think
Man.
you can go back because this team got worse this offseason. You can say whatever you want.
But also think about this. Think about this. Like it's not just Damian Lillard that they missed out on. Think about the last the other three superstars they were linked to. They were linked in the Kevin Durant sweepstakes, Bradley Beal,
Mm-hmm.
and they missed on all of them. They didn't get either one.
The other thing, so like the Miami Heat were setting themselves up to prepare for Giannis's free agency, right? So like the reason they didn't try to keep the guys that they let walk, a little bit had to do with the Damian Lillard trade, but they were preparing themselves to put themselves in position to offer a max contract to Giannis when he became a free agent 2 years from now. That's very much now in jeopardy because if Giannis wins the title this season with Damian Lillard as his co-pilot, he's not going anywhere.
That's really what it is, bro. So like that's what Milwaukee they needed something like this because now that Giannis extension looks a little bit more easier. I think it was rumored that it was like 3 years. It was like 3 years, 180 some million. Like that's the extension. Like now it's like now it's a little bit more feasible. Now it's a little bit more attractive to keep Giannis there. Now the Knicks and other teams is going to have money. It's like, damn, now we probably won't be able to poach him.
Because you remember when we had these contract extension conversations last time, when Giannis was coming up to being a free agency in a couple seasons, they traded for Jrue Holiday and he signed the extension like a month or two later. And this feels very similar where you upgrade, you give him a better player on the roster, you upgrade the roster, you show a commitment to winning, and Giannis resigns. But now Miami, like I think they're in a tough spot because I think the team got worse this offseason, and I think you need to call out. I think you need to make a call for James Harden. You see what it would take. I
wouldn't stop at James Harden though. Another guy that I throw out there is Zach LaVine.
I'm calling him. I'm calling Chicago. I'm calling Philly. Who else?
Yeah.
I'm calling Toronto. Hey, so this goes into my other loser. I'm calling the Toronto Raptors. Right?
Yeah, allegedly involved in these conversations, but refused to make Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, or OG Anunoby available in any trade involving Damian Lillard. So I would have
got rid of OG Anunoby.
What was the offer? What were they even offering?
I would have got rid of OG Anunoby real quick.
And
not all three. What is wrong with them?
No, but they didn't offer any of those guys in a trade. So like their trade must have centered around draft capital.
I didn't know about the other two, but I know for a fact that the notification I got said that they wouldn't part ways with OG Anunoby. I know how they feel about Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes is probably what you call untouchable for them. I understand that. Same thing with Pascal Siakam. But now I don't know. Like if you're Toronto, you already lost Van Vliet. So
and you let Kyle Lowry walk for nothing too last month. Like you in back-to-back off seasons, you let key pieces to a title contender walk for nothing.
Well, no piece was bigger than
Kawhi.
Obviously, like when you lost him, that was pretty much it.
That was that. But you know what? Oh man, that's for another crossover episode because you know what, Kawhi. I'm so sick of Kawhi Leonard, and the whole reports of him and PG them being healthy. Like what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like.
Go play. I don't care.
Right, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So I think the Heat are in a difficult spot there. I don't know.
If I'm Miami, I'm legit. What would it take for you to give up Pascal Siakam? Seriously, 100%. Like what would it take? So if I'm Miami, and you got to go back to the drawing board. I'm calling.
Karl Anthony Towns, another guy I would check in on, see what his status is.
Just to kick the tires on it. So we got who'd you say first? James Harden.
No, it's James Harden. I would say
Zach
the
LaVine.
best fit would be Zach LaVine. I wouldn't say James Harden. That strip club. Man, come on. Miami is
right. We got James Harden. You got Zach LaVine. You got Karl Anthony Towns. You got Pascal Siakam. I have no idea what's going on in Atlanta with Trae Young. That one, see what that's about. So right? Like Trae Young and Miami. Like, come on now. Like,
There might be a scenario where the Miami Heat have talks with Portland to probably even bring Drew Holiday to be their point guard.
I could see that too, actually.
Yeah.
But I also think the asking price is still going to be something absurd. Like I think Portland was like, you know what, we're not trading you to Miami. Like like even with even though they got a better package, I think they got a better package.
I think they can. I think Miami would trade Tyler Hero for Drew Holiday in a heartbeat.
I don't think that's enough. I don't know. Because Miami's problem isn't the
That's
fact
an upgrade.
Their defense is not their issue. Like their issue is that they need another guy who can score on a consistent basis. And no disrespect to Drew Holiday, he's just not that guy right now. Like he's a lockdown defender, but he's not a guy who can get a guaranteed bucket.
His offensive output in Milwaukee, it went up when he got there
because it had to.
But it's not like he can't score.
But
he can score.
At the same time, under normal circumstances, right? Healthy Giannis, healthy Middleton. Hey, Drew, all we really need from you is 15 points. That's really all we need. Giannis gonna give us 35. Middleton gonna give us about 20 to 25. Lopez gonna give us 17. You just real talk. All we really need from you is 15. Maybe not even that, but like barely even that.
So moving away from the Heat, let's talk about the next player that could possibly get traded. Real quick, round robin. Who do you think the next guy to get dealt will be? Is he?
I say Zach LaVine, man.
Trae Young.
I'm gonna go James Harden. I think this Damian Lillard outcome opens the door for Miami to get actively involved with the Philadelphia 76ers.
I think the issue with James Harden is and I despise this dude with a passion, but he has a point. And like when Mad Dog Russo says, like, you don't want this guy on your team. The problem is that James Harden's history doesn't help him right now, right? Like he's forced his way out of Houston, he's forced his way out of Brooklyn, and now you're trying to force your way out of Philly.
He's a cancer.
And at some point in time, like folks aren't just gonna be like they not gonna keep constantly putting up with that. Like this whole like that's why I hate that. That's why I hate the narrative that's out there about Westbrook right now because he didn't want to play Westbrook anymore. No, Westbrook held his ass accountable, and James didn't like that.
Hey, there might be a scenario. Hey, there might be a scenario where I've heard where the Warriors might be looking to trade Chris Paul and trade him for like Drew Holiday.
Yeah, I could see that. That'd be a very interesting trade.
That'd be
very Chris Paul doesn't seem to want to come off the bench, so yeah. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see if whoever the next NBA player to get dealt, we'll be breaking down here on the Prime with the crossover as Damian Lillard is headed to the Cream City to play for the Milwaukee Bucks. Thank you very much for checking us out here at Prime Sports World. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. And gentlemen, what do we do here at the Prime, my friends?
We bring the heat.
Bring the heat. I'm a little tired, David. So I don't got the energy like you do over here.
It's all good, man. Bring the heat, man. I just got off work.
I need some vitamin B in me right now.
I had one hell of a day at the office, dude. Like it was just one of those days. I'm very much glad to be home and watching some football.
It was one of those days.
You'll have a good weekend. I think you're doing
all I gotta say is,
College Football Showdown. Looking forward to that tomorrow. So.
Yeah, we are. We are looking forward. It's going to be a late start. And all I got to say is tonight, ladies and gentlemen, hey, go Pack, go, baby.
No Pack, no.
Go Pack, go.
We'll see you guys.
Let's go, baby. Roll out the barrels, baby.
Yeah, keep an eye out for that College Football Showdown tomorrow. We'll be back here next week. Y'all have a good weekend. Peace out, TJ.